The purpose of this short video is to give you a brief introduction to the student-led discussion groups that we will be beginning in week 3. By way of an introduction, as I did mention to you in class, I will choose the groups. The lists for the group members and contact information is posted on the course page in the folder on student-led discussion groups. I have had to make some minor changes to our plan for the discussion groups, and that's what I'm going to discuss with you now. So, looking at our weekly schedule, my original plan was for 4 discussion group sessions in each half of the term. Because we have a slightly smaller class than I had originally planned around, what I have decided to do is to change our numbers from 4 discussion groups per term to 3 discussion groups per term. So you can see on the schedule I've taken out the discussion group in week 5 and in week 9. And again, that amounts to 3 sessions per term instead of 4. It makes no difference whatsoever in terms of how our discussion groups will be carried out and how you will be marked for this assignment. What we want to do here to help you prepare for this assignment is to make clear a distinction between what I'm calling descriptive thinking and analytical thinking. Let's talk first about descriptive thinking. So descriptive thinking often observes or describes an empirical phenomenon. When one provides a definition of a concept, that is descriptive thinking as well, or to provide evidence that supports a point. Here's an example. Show how Merton's strain theory could be used to explain the phenomenon of theft. So essentially, to answer that question, you would be employing descriptive thinking in order to provide evidence to support the point. By contrast, let's take a look at analytical thinking. When we employ analytical thinking, we juxtapose empirical evidence against a concept for one of 2 reasons, either to check the validity of the theory or to provide a deeper level of insight into that empirical phenomenon. Analytical thinking is always evaluative. It's concerned with assessing the value of an explanatory framework or of competing explanations. Analytical thinking often examines the assumptions that underlie any particular explanatory framework. If you're using analytical thinking to prove a point, analytical thinking takes care to explain how and how well the evidence supports your point. So let's take a look at an example. So here's a modification of the earlier question about Merton. In what ways is Merton's strain theory a flawed means of explaining the phenomenon of theft? So you can see in the contrast with the question that was framed in a descriptive fashion, there's no way to answer this question without being evaluative and without questioning the assumptions behind the idea. Here are the analytical questions that I have posted on the course page for week 3, which is our first week of student-led discussion groups. From a sociological perspective, why is the issue of the effects of mass media such a big deal? And the second question, in what ways is the term mass media an outmoded term in an age when social media are dominant?